Hey everybody, this is No Chaser, and I'm just going to say off the bat, sorry there's no intro or normal editing type stuff that I have. To be honest, I really just wanted to get this video out here as soon as I could. It's something that's concerning my own life right now, and it's been pretty prevalent, and it made me think of something that's not talked about a lot for alcoholics and addicts when they're younger, like I mean younger comparatively in life, like from the not just 20s but your 30s and your actual 40s. And when you speak about the effects that alcoholism has, and what drugs can do to your body, you think about the things of losing your job, losing your relationships, something like ODing or some sort of horrible accident, DUI, legal consequences, all that type of stuff. And then it seems like always at like the bottom of the checklist or in the back of the mind, there's like, oh, and also the health problems. I mean, the health problems are something that we're like acutely aware of, but it's something, and maybe it's that idea, that kind of leftover sense of that youthful "I'm never gonna die" sort of thing. I mean, it seems silly me saying that because I have gray hairs and I'm older than when Jesus died. Well, just by a couple of days. I'm still 33. But point being is that there's still that thing that the health problems that you hear, they're there, but they're not really going to happen to me. I call this kind of the smokers phenomenon. I don't know if, like, I don't know. You don't want me to trademark that. Someone's probably used it before. But when I think of the smokers phenomenon, I was a smoker for 10 years. And there was this idea that, smoking causes cancer, and ha ha ha, like I'm sucking down another cancer stick or blah blah. It's one of those things that's pretty serious, but it's not taken as serious because it's in this thing in your mind. You're like, it will, it won't happen to me though. Like other people get cancer, but it won't happen to me. And when it does, it feels foolish because you're shocked. You're like, wait, no, this is supposed to happen to someone else, even though I was doing the exact same thing that causes cancer to people. And in my own, personal thing going on right now, and I know with a lot of alcoholics, is the damage that's done to your liver and the damage that's done to your bodily functions. And uh, yeah, I guess I'm just saying this from my experience, but it's kind of one of those things in the back of your mind. I remember being in treatment before, and I remember, just talking in meetings and other people in recovery. You write some sort of list that says, what are the consequences if you continue to, use or drink? And, there would be like, those big ones you think about, like the loss of family and the love in your life and your job security and being home, all those things. And then, you always write in, oh, yeah, and also like health problems. But then for some people, like me, it starts to become a reality. You start to think, oh, shit, this is actually affecting me. There's a lot of times I didn't want to go see the doctor because I don't know, like I guess people from their 20s to their 30s or 40s, like you only need to go to the doctor if you need to go to the doctor. Like going, like getting normal checkups. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, or like you don't think of something as that you just normally do. You go to the doctor when it's not quite a full emergency to the hospital, but it's something's pretty serious. But the the other reason I would never want to go to the doctor is because if he were to do a checkup on me, he could see the damage I was doing. And I knew I was doing damage, but I I didn't think it would be at the level that it would be at. And I feel so foolish. It's like, well, the way you drank, of course you've done some sort of damage. And I like the point, the kind of thesis I'm trying to bring here is that, you know, if if there's reasons, two things. If there's reasons that you need maybe more motivation to quit and you're able to. I know that the healthcare system is screwed up and not people don't always have time to just go see the doctor, because the other problem with the doctor is what if you need more tests, and what if it spirals into something that was maybe nothing, and you wasted all that time and money and what have you. But I mean, if you really can, yeah, and I know it's always awkward because the doctor will be like, how much do you drink? I forgot, it was from some show, but the doctor asked this guy who's an alcoholic. He was just like, and sir, how much do you drink? And he just looks at him and he goes, all I can. And that's maybe some snarky comment I'd make, but the thing that if I would have went before, who's to say that? I mean, it probably wouldn't have stopped me, but maybe it would start a little spark that could eventually turn into a fire that would push me a little bit further. Or for maybe people like you out there or anybody else out there, if they were to see the doctor and they could actually physically look at test results and see the damage that they're doing, and to really get some sort of metrics and some sort of like idea of, if you keep doing this at this level, this is what you have to look forward to. This is your track to cirrhosis of the liver. This is to what your kidney failure is going to be in this many years. And it really puts it to perspective, because one of the biggest things that helps drive and helps keep pushing drinking and using is just the denial, the, like, the hear no evil, see no evil, all that type of stuff. And not seeking and looking at your health is one of those ways to do that. So I mean, that was my idea of number one, is that maybe it can give you just that extra motivation you may need to quit. Maybe even if you're on that cusp, if you don't know if you're an alcoholic or you're a problem drinker, or if you're using drugs, maybe there's some sort of infectionary problem or some deficiency to where you're going to be really close to doing some serious organ failure if you keep using. Like I said, the insanity of alcoholism and addiction, it knows no bounds. You can just brush that off. But I mean, that's the first thing I would at least to say of why you should really look into your actual health. The second reason, which I think is important, is that you can at least get a better grasp of where you're at. So if you're not quite ready to quit drinking, and it's like, why would I go to the doctor for him to basically tell me, hey, the only thing you enjoy doing, or the thing you have to do and you have to stop? Like, why would I go and do that? If you have people in your life that care about you, and like you have obviously people that want to see you live as long as you can, at the very least, maybe you could start taking some measures. I know it sounds insane, like taking measures when you're in active alcoholism or you're heavy drinking, but maybe tell like some measures that you can do to try to mitigate it, or to try to at least like decrease the damage. I had started with pills. That was actually my first, back when, like, I drank and smoked when I was around like 13 and stuff. But where I really got hooked on drugs when I was about 15 years old, and it was to Vicodin. And I had taken, before I moved on to like oxy and morphine and stuff like that. It was just all those Vicodin pills with it. They also have acetaminophen or ibuprofen in them, and I took so many of those. So then I have years of that, then the drinking on top of it, and I had no idea that I had been to the hospital before, and the doctors were like, it doesn't look great. Like, we're not going to give you a shining bill of health or anything, because there's certainly damage done. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, whatever. I can expect that. But then I went without drinking for a long time. Like, well, my amount of drinking was cut down immensely. Instead of going from about like 8 years almost of just straight drinking, I would, have a relapse and then be sober for a couple of months, relapse for, a few days. And all the relapses were for a few days. And the sober time was for months. And then eventually, over a year. And so I just assumed, that the liver enzymes, like, things would start to heal themselves. But I, it it hasn't worked that way. And the problem is I never knew anything about these medical effects or these health effects because I never really looked into them, and I was just completely blindsided by the damage that I thought was going to repair itself. And I just, the overall the overall point of this video, I think, is of the myriad of issues that come with being in active addiction or alcoholism, is that there's enough stuff that can deter you from it, but there's also some things you can't continue to ignore. And you can't live with the delusion that, well, people get cirrhosis at the liver at, like, 60 years old after they've been drinking for however long, or people have kidney failure like way down the line, or only if they're like a handle a day drinker for like years and years and years. That's not certainly the case. And I'm sorry, I really didn't want this episode to be a super bummer like this, but I, I just want to be as candid as possible and kind of help give insight into this world through my own life. And I'm starting to see some of the effects that has come from what I've done, and I have to use it to push harder to keep on the right path. And although I have a lot of things to be sober for, there's other things that I have to be ready to face too. That even if you get sober, or even if you stay sober, there's still some consequences that can't quite be undone. And that's something that, I need to be cognizant of. And I hope other people can be as well. So, yeah, sorry about kind of a downer episode. I mean, I guess a lot of them are anyways. But anyway, eat bananas, drink lots of water, and if you're still in it and you're still drinking, I just hang in there the best you can. Try to mitigate some harm reduction, whatever you want to call it, or just if you are just stuck in it, I know what it's like. So just I hope the best that you can find a way out of it. And if you guys are out there and you're still struggling to get sober, or you're just starting, or you're on the right path, or you've been sober for a while, just Godspeed, and I hope the best for you. All right, thanks for listening. And like I said, I have my confidential email if you guys ever want to talk or chat, or have any more in-depth questions. I'll list it below. Comment, like, subscribe, all the YouTuber talk stuff. You know what I mean. But I would appreciate that, and tell your friends. Thanks. Bye bye.